Two companies, same size, same industry, same problem, same year. One hired a consulting firm. They spent €290,000. 8 months of discovery sessions, workshops, and planning. At the end of it, they had dashboards. Beautiful dashboards. Nobody used them. The other company followed a different sequence. 6 weeks of preparation, 3 weeks of building, 7 weeks total, €55,000. And within 3 months of going live, the first use case has already paid for itself. Same technology, same data, same business problem. The difference was not the budget, it was not the team, it was not even the tools. It was the sequence they followed. I'm Felix Golenkos. For 35 years, I've shown mid-sized companies how to turn their data into profit. At that time, we've delivered more than 1,500 projects for over 400 clients. 2 of them have been with us for more than 34 years. I've seen this story hundreds of times, and it's the reason I built the framework. It's called Decide. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through all 6 steps, how it works without AI, and how AI makes each step faster, better, and more accurate. Here's how most companies start their BI journey. They go to a conference or a board member asks, why don't we have a better reporting? And the first thing they do is compare tools, Power BI or Tableau or Click. Which platform is best for our size? What does the demo look like? They pick a tool, they start building. 6 months later, the dashboards exist and nothing has changed. Now they have expensive dashboards that nobody uses and a very awkward conversation with whoever approved the budget. So here's why it happens. Selecting a tool before understanding your needs is like buying a car before knowing where and what you are driving. A sports car is wrong if you need to haul lumber. You don't start with the vehicle, you start with the destination. Decide starts with the destination. If you're a CFO, a head of controlling, or a business owner who has tried BI before and been disappointed, or who is thinking about it and wants to avoid the mistakes, the framework I'm about to share is for you. The first step is discover. And the question is not which tool should we buy, and it's not even what dashboards do we need. The question is, which decisions and actions in which part of this business will move the needle most? Is it sales? Where are deals being lost that better information could save? Is it operations? Where is waste happening that nobody can currently see? Is it controlling? Which numbers arrive too late to still be useful? Is it procurement? Which supplier risks are invisible until they become a crisis? Is it marketing? Which campaigns are burning budget with no clear line to revenue? For each functional area, there are use cases, specific situations where better decisions change a business outcome. Discover maps those use cases before you build anything. You prioritize by impact. Where does a better decision move the most money, save the most cost, or reduce the most risk? That is where you start. Now, add AI. Traditionally understanding your data landscape, what data you have, what quality it is, what is missing, took a data architect weeks of manual work. AI does it in hours. It scans your existing systems, surfaces where the gaps are, and suggests use cases that have delivered measurable value in companies similar to yours. You're not starting from a blank page. You're starting with a map. Discovery is still a human decision. AI doesn't tell you what matters to your business, but it compresses weeks of analysis into hours and makes sure you do not overlook something obvious. The second step is engage. Discover told you which decisions matter in which part of your business. Engage tells you who makes those decisions and how they actually make them. Not who should make them, who actually makes them, in which situations, under which constraints. Dashboards, reports, data story, these are tools. Tools are used by people, and people are not theoretical. They are not sitting at a clean desk with 2 hours of uninterrupted time and burning desire to explore your dashboard. They are in their cars between customer visits. They are on the factory floor with workers asking questions. They are 3 minutes before a meeting checking their phone. Engage starts by identifying the real roles. Who will work with these tools to make decisions and take actions? Not just the obvious decision maker, the full ecosystem. Who provides the input? Who needs to approve? Who implements the decision? Who might resist it? Then it maps the situations. Because the same person needs completely different things depending on where they are. In a daily huddle, fast, focus, operational. Which fires need the attention right now? In a weekly show fix, progress, trends, expectations, what's on track and what is not. In a monthly review, performance, patterns, accountability, are we moving in the right direction? In a quarterly strategic planning, directions, priorities, resource allocation, are we working on the right things? And then there are the ad hoc moments. The CEO calls with a question. The board wants context before a meeting. A customer issue needs immediate analysis. Each situation has different time pressure, different information needs, different levels of detail. A system built for the monthly review is useless in the daily huddle. Engage makes sure you understand which situations matter most before you build anything. Now, add AI. Before the first conversation, AI earns its place. Based on the functional area and use case identified in Discover step, AI suggests which roles in that organization are typically involved in these decisions, and in which situations those decisions usually happen. So you're not starting blind. You're starting with the hypothesis that your conversations will confirm or correct. Then AI structures the interview process itself. Not a generic questionnaire, a guided conversation that moves from broad to specific, from understanding the person's word to understanding the exact moments where better information would change their decisions. And after the conversations, AI synthesizes what you learned, identifies patterns across stakeholders, spots the gaps and contradictions, and turns pages of notes into a structured picture. For mid-sized companies without large consulting teams, that makes thorough engage actually achievable. The third step is clarify. This is where most BI projects quietly go off the rails. Not because anyone did anything wrong, because everyone thinks they understood each other and nobody actually does. In Engage, you learned who makes decisions in which situations. Now, you need to answer one question. What exactly does that person need to know in order to make those decisions? Not what data do we have? Not what reports can we build? What is the precise question that, if answered, would change what they do? Here's the trap most teams fall into. Head of sales says, I need better visibility into sales performance. That sentence could mean 50 different things. You could build 50 different dashboards from it. None of them would possibly be right. What decisions are you trying to make? Which accounts are at risk of churning in the next 90 days? Now I can build some. The difference between these two sentences is the difference between a dashboard nobody uses and an insight that triggers immediate action. And that's what Clarify does. It turns fuzzy needs into precise decisions questions. And here's the deeper problem. Most of the time, the business users don't really know which questions they should be asking. They know their pain. They do not know how to translate it into a decision question. They know something is wrong with margins. They do not know whether to ask which customers are buying less frequently, or which product lines are losing margin faster than others, or which sales reps are discounting beyond their authority. All three are valid. All three lead to completely different dashboards. Without Clarify, you guess, and you build the wrong one. Now, add AI. This is where AI earns its place in the most powerful way. AI has processed patterns across thousands of companies, industries, and functional areas. It knows which questions a CFO of a distribution company typically needs answered. It knows which signals a head of controlling in manufacturing usually cannot see, but urgently needs to act on. You describe the role, the functional area, and the business situation. AI suggests the decision questions they should be asking, including the ones they do not even know to ask. It proposes the KPIs that typically drive decisions in that context. It maps the driver logic, how metrics connect to each other, what causes what, which levers people can actually pull. It identifies the signals they should be watching, the early warning patterns that appear in the data before a problem becomes visible to the naked eye. A customer going quiet 3 weeks before they churn. A margin starting to erode 4 weeks before it shows up in the monthly report. A supplier delivery pattern shifting 2 weeks before the first stock out. These are not obvious. They are patterns. And AI knows where to look for them. And it flags the blind spots. You have covered customer acquisition, but you have not addressed retention. In companies like yours, retention has 3 times the impact on profitability. The human still decides which questions and signals matter most for this specific business. But instead of starting from a blank page, you start with a map built from thousands of similar situations. Clarify with AI is the difference between guessing which questions matter and knowing which ones do, and between reacting to problems and seeing it coming. The 4th step is illustrate. Now you know which decisions matter. You know who makes them and in which situation. You know exactly which questions need answering and which signals to watch for. Now you need to make all of that visible before writing a single line of code. And here's why this matters. A blueprint describes what a system should do. But humans think in pictures, not abstractions. Until someone can see something concrete, they cannot tell you if it is right. Well, I've sat in meetings where a project team presented a perfect decision blueprint, precise questions, clear metrics, mapped out requirements. And the business owner said, but what would I actually see? Where on the screen? A number, a chart, a gauge? Everyone in that room had a different mental picture, all reading the same blueprint, none seeing the same thing. Illustrate makes the invisible visible. The process goes in 3 stages. First, wireframes, the skeleton. Where does information sit on the screen? What is most important? What does the user see first? Second, then mockups, the full picture. Colors, fonts, real content, brand elements. Now stakeholders can react properly. The third, the complete data story, typically on 3 levels. First level, an overview dashboard, the big picture, the headline signals. Second level, where to look, what needs attention. And third level, the deep dive, the X-ray view. Each level answers a different question for the same decision maker. Changes at the wireframe stage cost minutes. Changes in finished code cost orders of magnitude more. As Frank Lloyd Wright put it, you can use an eraser on the drafting table or a sledgehammer on the construction site. Illustrate front loads the cheap changes. Now add AI. Until recently, this whole process required an experienced BI designer. Someone who knew which chart types reveals margin erosion fastest. Someone who knew how to structure a 3-level data store. Someone who knew the rules for colors, fonts, information hierarchy. Well, most of organizations do not have that person. Or if they have one, they are already fully booked. AI changes this completely. You define a style guide once. Your corporate colors, your fonts, your design tokens. AI takes that style guide and applies it consistently across every dashlet, every level, every screen, every single time. No more inconsistent colors between dashboards. No more someone using a pie chart because they didn't know better. AI knows the rules, and it follows them. Those rules are not arbitrary. They come from the IBCS standards, the International Business Communication Standards, a global framework for business visualizations. Bar charts and line charts for almost everything. No pie charts, no donuts, no heat maps. Not because they look bad, because they obscure the inside. Combined with the principle of Cole Nussbaumer, Knaflick, Stephen Few, Rolf Fischer, these standards tell you exactly which visualization fits which question. AI has all of this built in. And then AI does something no human designer can do at speed. It generates the wireframes, the mockups, and the demo data. You describe what decision maker needs. You describe the 3 levels of the data story. AI produces a draft in minutes, not in days. Not a generic dashboard. A data story built around the specific decisions, the specific signals, the specific situations you identified in Engage and Clarify. Every dashlet designed to answer one question. Every visualization chosen to make one signal visible. The result? Design that is fast, consistent, and built on rules that work. Available to anyone in the organization, not just the specialists who spent years learning them. The 5th step is develop. Up to this point, we have not written a single line of code. Not 1. We have discovered where value lives. We have engaged the people who make decisions. We have clarified the exact questions to answer and the signals to watch for. We have illustrated what the solution looks like. To a technologist eager to build, this might feel like a delay. It's not the delay, it's preparation. And preparation is what makes building fast. Think about how a building gets constructed. The crew does not pour concrete the day they arrive on site. They review blueprints, they plan the foundations, they coordinate every detail before a single brick is laid. Because mistakes in a blueprint cost minutes. Mistakes in a building can cost millions. BI development works exactly the same way. The first 4 steps are the blueprints. Develop is where construction begins. And with good blueprints, a complex system that would have taken 8 months to build gets delivered in just a couple of weeks. We've seen this repeatedly. From a business leader's perspective, what actually happens in develop? Your technical team takes the approved designs and builds the system. They connect your data sources. They structure the data so it can answer the precise questions identified in Clarify. They build the dashboards and reports they were designed in Illustrate. They test everything, not once at the end, but continuously throughout. You see progress along the way. No surprises at the handover. The system that comes out of develop is exactly what was agreed in the mockups. Because the decisions were made earlier when changing something was still cheap. Now add AI. This is where AI makes a major difference. But there is one prerequisite. The first 4 steps must be done properly. AI is extraordinarily fast, we know that. It will build in whatever direction you point it to. The first 4 steps make sure you're pointing it in the right direction. With that foundation in place, tasks that used to require a team of 4 specialized experts working for months can now be accomplished by a smaller team working with AI in a fraction of time. Code that took weeks to write now takes days, or maybe even hours. Connections between systems that require deep specialist knowledge are now largely automated. Testing that used to be done manually is increasingly handled by AI that checks its own work. Coding agents, AI systems that can take a specification, break it into tasks, and execute them automatically are transforming what a small technical team can deliver. The result? Development that is faster, more consistent, less dependent on finding and keeping rare and expensive specialists. And for mid-sized companies that could never afford a full team of BI experts, this levels the playing field entirely. The 6th and final step is Embed. And it is the step most companies skip entirely. The system is built, training is done, project is closed. Everybody goes home feeling good. 6 months later, nothing has changed. Does that sound familiar? A functional system is not an adopted system. Technology that exists is not the same as technology that transforms. I know a CEO who had exactly this. Real-time inventory visibility across 23 locations, demand forecasting, automated alerts. His team's assessment after 6 months? Not much has changed. The weekly meeting still ran on spreadsheets. People still argued about whose numbers were right. Decisions were still made on gut feeling and whoever spoke loudest. The system was available. Nobody had made it part of how decisions actually got made. That's the gap Embed closes. People have existing routines. They know how to do their jobs the old way. The new way may be better, but it requires change. And inertia is powerful. Training does not create habits. People attend training, nod along, and return to their desks where the old way still works and the new way feels awkward. Well, Embed recognizes that behavior change is the real deliverable. So, how does it work? You do not ask people to add something new. You modify what they already do. The Monday meeting still happens. But now it starts with an AI-generated briefing. What has changed since last week? What needs attention? What decisions need to be made? People come prepared. Discussions focuses on decisions, not on reviewing data that could have been read beforehand. The monthly review still happens. But now variance analysis that used to take days to produce manually is ready before the meeting begins. You're not creating new habits. You are inserting intelligence into habits that already exist. And where decisions are still falling through the gaps, Embed creates decision rituals. A structural moment where a specific type of decisions gets made. A defined trigger, a defined process, a defined output. Every week, the system surfaces the accounts at risk. The sales team reviews them. Actions get taken, outcomes get tracked, the decisions happens automatically. Not when someone remembers to look. There is one more thing I want to name directly because I've seen it derail more BI projects than almost anything else. New transparency reveals things that were previously hidden. Performance that was buried suddenly becomes visible to leadership. Some people welcome this, others feel threatened by it. And people who feel threatened do not just resist passively. They find flaws in the data, then they question the methodology. They create doubt until the system loses credibility. Embed has to handle this carefully. Transparency should enable improvement, not trigger punishment. Problems surfaced by the system are opportunities to fix things, not ammunition for witch hunts. The culture around transparency determines whether the system survives. Now add AI. This is where AI moves from useful to extraordinary. AI does not wait for someone to open a dashboard. It monitors the data continuously. When it detects a pattern that needs attention, a customer going quiet, a project margin starting to erode, an inventory item heading toward a stockout, it triggers the right workflow automatically. The right person gets the right alert at the right moment. The decision gets made before the problem becomes a crisis. And over time, the system learns. It observes which decisions led to good outcomes and which did not. It surfaces that history when similar situations arise in the future. The organization does not just get smarter because people are better informed. It gets smarter because the system remembers what worked. And that is what embedded intelligence looks like. Not a dashboard somewhere, not a tool people could use. Intelligence that is inseparable from how the organization works. The CEO I mentioned, the one whose team said not much has changed, 6 months after they restructured the meetings, the rituals, and the workflows, his verdict was completely different. The system is not a tool anymore. It is just how we work. And that is Embed done right. Now, stop for a moment. Think about your last reporting BI initiative or the one you are planning right now. Which step did you skip first? I'll be honest with you. I probably already know the answer for most of you. You most probably went straight to develop. You found a platform, you started building, and when it didn't work, you blamed the technology. But the technology was not the problem. The sequence was. Decide works without AI. Companies have followed this sequence for years, and it transforms what is possible. But AI is what makes Decide extraordinary. Because when you have done the first 4 steps, when you know where to build, who you are building for, what questions to answer, and what it should look like, AI compresses the build from months to weeks. And when you have embedded that intelligence into daily habits, AI stops being a dashboard and it starts being a co-pilot. Get the sequence right first, because that's what turns data into profit. I'm Felix Golenkos, 35 years, more than 1,500 projects, more than 400 clients. 2 of them have been working with us for longer than most companies exist. And that's what following the right sequence produces. If you want to go deeper, the full Decide framework is in my book. Every step, every tool, every AI angle. Links is in the description. And if you want more on turning your data into profit, subscribe. New video every week. Links to everything in the description, and I'll see you in the next one.